Chase, some of our listeners actually called this. So I'm going to give props to the folks that said, hey, this is going to happen. It's going to be the next big thing. It's going to happen. Dodge brought an electric charger to SEMA in early November. They're planning to make one. They've actually released information. What they did is they reimagined the current style of the charger. And I would say it's more fluid, a little bit more aggressive if it could be. It's not bad. They're going to be making tweaks to it, but this is pretty close from what they say to the vehicle it's going to roll out of their showrooms probably in a couple of years. They call it the Charger Daytona EV. And the one that they showed at SEMA was in striker red, which means it was in-your-face red. The base model. Let's just start with some facts, and then I'm going to give you some comparisons for those of y'all that may not be familiar with the current charger as opposed to the EV charger. Will deliver a hefty 455 horsepower. By comparison, the base 3.6-liter V6 gasoline engine in the current charger that delivers less than that, to get to close to this, which would be 475, you'd have to go to the 5.7-liter Hemi V8, which brings you in at about 475. The new base model is at 455. To start with, there is nothing less. They've got this top of the line, over the top, because, Dodge. Over the top one, they call it the Banshee Edition, and it's rumored to come in at 1,000 horsepower. I want that to sink in.
Hopefully not street legal.
By comparison, if you went with the Hellcat, it comes in at 707 horsepower, and you needed a special key to access that. I will tell you that at 700 horsepower, it is way more than you could possibly ever need. 1,000 horsepower for a Banshee Edition with the benefits of an electric motor that gives you all of the torque from the minute you drop your foot. There is no spooling up. There is no shifting. There's no winding up of the engine to get to the torque sweet spot. No. With an electric motor, you get it all from the time you say go. You get everything. It holds nothing back. That could be really crazy. Another thing that I found to be interesting, they did get honest that they would, and we've reported it here, that the end was coming to the current series of the gasoline vehicles, and that's this year. They're going to take 1 full year of changeover and retooling at the sprawling Brampton, Ontario, Canada assembly plant where they're being built. And the new EVs are going to come out of that plant. And it will be back online in 2024. And it will begin producing a production version of this vehicle. And according to the design chief, Ralph Gills, he told the Detroit Bureau that the Charger Daytona, the retail edition, the actual production edition, will closely resemble the concept, which is pretty cool. This all-electric drivetrain, let's dig in a little deeper. Like we said, 455 horsepower. It will be badged the 340, which meant it suggests the equivalent of a 340 cubic inch V8. And then you've got stages. And depending on which stage the buyer opts for, the electric drivetrain will push out to 455, and there's the 440 models. And for those of you who are not the Chrysler faithful, remember that the 440 was Chrysler's performance V8, and they even had a high performance version of the 440 V8, which at the time was their top end engine back in the day when the original Challengers were out. But the 440 electric models will make as much as 670 horsepower. That's within 37 horsepower of the Hellcat engines now. The 6.4-liter aluminum Hellcat. That is crazy. But here's where it gets interesting. Both of the packages, the 340 and 440, are going to use a 400-volt electrical architecture. What does that mean in practical terms? It means that it will have the ability to recharge quickly and use a level 3 charger, which means you're not going to sit there waiting half a day to get recharged. If you've got a charger that is a level 2, level 3 charger, we're talking minutes. We're talking less than an hour. And as this gets better and better, we might be talking as little as 10 to 15 minutes to go from maybe almost no charge or 10% charge to 80, 90% charge. like we predicted on this program, we told you that technology of battery chemistry, increased range, decreased charging times were going to happen. This is becoming reality. And with all the battery plants and all the component plants being built in America in the next 3 to 4 years, it is only going to get more intense. And with all that technology and all that development, ongoing development, it will only get better. And here's the best part. If you buy this Charger Daytona EV in 2024, and they come out with improvements in 2025, 2026, 2027, unlike back in the day where you either had to have a hardware change or trade your vehicle to get the new one, chances are extremely good that either free or for a nominal fee, you can upgrade the vehicle you're driving for a fraction of what you paid for it to get the over-the-air update to improve the performance, whether it is faster charging, longer range, or more horsepower. That is really the magic of electric vehicles for the future. The days of having to trade a vehicle in to get additional or more or the next generation or improved are going to be largely gone. Because when it comes to powertrain, it's electric, it's software, it's an upgrade. Just like, your Windows right now, where you got Windows 10, Windows 11, unlocking benefits. I mean, Tesla does that right now. Imagine buying a vehicle and not having to trade it in for 15, 20 years, but yet the vehicle at 15 years old, save for the physical condition of the vehicle, is as fresh performance-wise as it was the day you bought it. And in fact, probably better than the day you bought it. Tesla's doing that with the Model S right now. That if you own a 13 or 14 Model S and you're willing to pay for the upgrades, it's probably as fresh as a new one. And you didn't pay anywhere close to having to replace it. Even if you paid $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, it beats $70,000 or $80,000 to trade it in. Now, having said all that, we talked about the 340 and the 440 stages. The Banshee version, the SRT Banshee version of the Charger Daytona EV will use an 800-volt electric drive system. This is on par with the Porsche Taycan and the Lucid Air. They use very high voltage systems to maximize performance, maximize charging, and to get the most out of range. And this Banshee edition is going to be there, but they did say in the news piece, the key word, expensive. You're going to pay for it. But my goodness, for that kind of performance, you realize, Chase, that vehicle will be worth double whatever they charge for it the day they make them, because they're not going to make a lot of them.
Yeah.
Even if they built 10,000 of those, which would be a lot, I would think that it would be anywhere from 500 to 2,500 Banshees. Every single one would be spoken for. Every single one would be worth double the day of delivery. If somebody was smart enough to park the thing and not drive it for 10 years, the thing might be worth way more than that, but they'll be worth a lot. Now, while officials declined to discuss the numbers for the Banshee, but considering, according to the article, a growing number of all-electrics making 1,000 horsepower or more, some sources did suggest that Dodge will push into the 4-digit range for the most powerful version of the electric muscle car.